All right, I'm live. I'll call you back later. All right.
All right.
All right. Love you. Bye. That's my daughter. She just moved into an apartment. So she was hitting me up. She didn't know I was live. My bad, y'all. Shout out to everybody, man. Shout out to the AKs that's always in here showing love. Appreciate y'all. And then the pseudo AKs. I still call y'all AKs even though y'all ain't members, but become an official AK. But guys like Lewis, you know what I mean? Lewis Ortiz, you always here, man. Remarkable. First time I saw you, I think. Appreciate you being in here. Sadiqa, what up, though? Judas Redemption. You need to be an AK too. You always in here. You know, so it's like that cousin that I was. I was the cousin who was always visiting my cousins, eating up all the food, dancing in all the videos. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to y'all. Let me know too. I had the service people from Xfinity come out the other day. They claim they fixed it. So they said that if it's any other issues, it's because of the electricity. I gotta call the electrician. I mean, not the electric company. But let me know if I'm jumping at all. You know, you guys can say it in the chat a little later, or say it whatever, and I'll take note of that. That'll tell me what I need to do next. But we got a good one today, I think. You know what I mean? Thank you for the shout out, AK. Yeah, I appreciate you, Lewis. I remember you, man. DVX SX. He says Mulugheta thinks the athletes work for him. Too much pride with that man. I mean, whether it's pride or not, we're gonna dig into that in a second. Whether it's pride or there's a balance with that. And I think that, yeah, obviously, if you have clients, you're supposed to try to do what's in the best interest of your client. So I don't fault him for trying to get the money. I don't fault him for that. But there are patterns that I don't like, and that's what makes me look at him different. Lewis says, Okoye, I think that the number 5 on downs shows how many positions he can play on the field. That's a fact. Oh, he's wearing number 5 instead of number 2. That's dope. Amazing Creations News Channel. What's up? Long ass name, but he said, "What's up, Okoye OG? What up with you, brother?" He said, "Damn, I didn't know Okoye had hands like that." Oh, you ain't know? You must be new here, man. I'm not even I'm moonlight as a analyst. I'm a professional boxing coach, man. That's what I do most of the time. So not most of the time. I actually do a lot of shit, but that's one of the things that I do. I do that one for free because I love it, just like I do this one kind of for free. It's not for free, but close enough for free. But anyway, but yeah, that's what I do. And then I have a residential assisted living facility where we house homeless veterans too. Me and the lady coming down the stairs right now, acting like she can't see nothing. You know what I mean? But yeah, definitely got hands, brother. Hello, brother. There, Robert Bass, man. That's the OG right there. You go back to the Facebook days, man. You go back like 10 years, Rob. Mm-hmm. Appreciate y'all. Let me see. He said, Okoye, no, that's what I want him to wear if he didn't get number 2. Oh, yeah. Number 5, if he wore number 5, that'd be dope. But I don't think he's gonna wear number 5. I think they're gonna figure it out. Jerry might pay for him to get number 2, to be honest with you, or might make Kobe give it up because Kobe's on a 1-year deal. I think that Jerry will likely want, because of jersey sales and marketing and merchandising, he will probably want Caleb Downs to have number 2. So he's gonna have to compensate Kobe Durant some kind of way to get it from him, and that's probably why Kobe Durant hasn't come out and said, "Yo, I'm a go ahead and give it up." He's smart, anchor down, chill out. They're gonna pay you. All right, let's see. He said, "Looks like I'm good." I hope so. I hope I'm good, man. I hope I'm good. I should be by now. I did enough paying and working to get it right. Let's see. Holmes says, "What up, Okoye? I want Pickens long term, but he needs a second solid year to get that huge contract." We're gonna dig into that. That's what we're here to talk about, man, for sure. It looks like the upside. He said, "What happened? What happened where?" Come on, man. What's going on, babe? Yeah, no, you good. You good. It's not bothering nothing. Somebody said, "What happened?" Let me hear what you're talking about, Dada Yoda, before I move forward with my connection. Oh, you wasn't here? Shit. It was jumping. You don't remember it was jumping all the time every time I jumped on? I thought you just scared the hell out of me just now saying what happened. I thought I lost connection again. I was about to get sad real quick. You was here, right? So yeah, you remember it was jumping. Is it jumping now? Somebody tell me if it is. But it was jumping for like month and a half straight. I went on a Skywalker Still show, and when I went on the show, I realized that when I rewatched it to try to like put it on my channel, I ain't even bother putting it up. Damn, they said my audio's still good, but my picture's still freezing sometimes. Oh man. You said no, somebody said no, it's not. Somebody said yes, it is. So it's a little crazy, man. I don't know. No, you fine. Well, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. But he said you should wear number 11. If you wear number 11, that is number 2 technically. So I guess number 11 ain't so bad, right? He said you fine here in PA. Main man said I'm good for him too. So I don't know, maybe I'm good. Did I get him? This motherfucker been flying around me all day. I want to kill him. This mosquito, man. Can't catch him. I ain't skitzing on PCP or none of that. Those days are behind me. Like, no, I'm only messing with you. I ain't never did no PCP. Good thing Mr. Consistent playoff Dak contract almost up. He doesn't get another one. Get another QB a chance. Wow. I don't even understand you. Why you come here with that, brother? I mean, we chilling. We all came here peaceful. We talking about Tee Higgins and David Mulugheta, and you start bringing up the Dak hate, man. You know what I mean? Every time we turn around, somebody got to come in and throw the shade at Dak for no reason. It's your show. You can do what you want in the chat if you want to say that, but please don't spam it. You said it. We heard you. You don't like Dak. That's all right. We ain't mad at you for that either. But come on, don't even start responding to him, y'all. Please don't, because that's what he's here for. He's here to tilt the conversation into a favor that we ain't trying to have. So we ain't having that. But don't spam me, because then I have to block you, and I don't feel like doing that either. You do have free speech to a degree, but we'll treat you like America in a second. You know what I mean? We'll censor the hell out your ass if you keep going. So don't do that. Please don't do that. All right, dude was like the second best quarterback in the league last year. See, I told you I don't respond to him. Y'all doing it already. Now I gotta read what y'all saying to him. This is not about Amazing Creations News Channel. You know what I'm saying? Don't do it. Don't do it. You know what I mean? Y'all gotta be disciplined. You know what I'm saying? Discipline. Well, if you don't get your, yeah, I feel you, Texas. All right, but let me get into it, man. I'm gonna get out these comments. I think I'm up to speed and up to date with everybody. I gave everybody I could a shout out so far. Remember what we do this for. Obviously, make sure you guys are following, liking, subscribing, sharing it everywhere that you can, and tune in. And I appreciate the fact that, and I do this on purpose. Maybe I need to get a little more structure, but I don't set dates or times for when I'm gonna go live. Probably because I don't have a set schedule for my real life. So I can't really say, like, if somebody called me right now and say, hey, somebody's breaking in one of the buildings, I got to cut the live short and get to Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? So because of that, because of business, I obviously don't set a regular schedule, but I do appreciate that you guys are hitting the notification button like you do, and you jump on ad hoc like you have been. So I do appreciate that. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, sharing. Hit the super chats. My super chat's been super dry. So y'all can hit the super chats, or y'all can hit the membership button, and make sure you guys are supporting the channel. And I mean, really, because I'm bringing you this content out of the kindness of my heart. You know what I mean? I don't want to keep doing it like that, though. But let's do it. Hold on a second. Let me see what's up. All right, listen, and this is another thing. When you come in, there's 107 of y'all in here. When you come in, it's something called house dues, right? When you go to your mama house, I'm pretty sure she make you take your shoes off, right? So when you come into my house, when you come into this channel, the lowest barrier of entry is at least hit the like button. If you're in your car, stop right now, hit the like button. If you're on your computer, stop right now, hit the like button. If you're on your television, stop right now, grab your remote, toggle that joint over to the thumbs up, and hit that like button. All right, make sure y'all do that, because that at least tells people that the content is good, and that brings more people to the party. You know what I mean? So let me see where y'all at right now. Yeah, 59 likes for 113 viewers. That is not enough, and I want to get into this subject, so please and thank you, stop for a second and hit that like button. All right? I'm going to keep updating real quick to see where we at. We at 64. That's good. It's climbing. But get them up. Get them up. Get them up. That's not enough. Who that? Kendrick. You know what I'm saying? It's not enough. Let's get them up. 66. All right, we climbing one at a time. Y'all slow climbing like my service was. What's up, T Marquee? I guess I'll give a couple more shout outs while y'all catch up to speed with the like button. Those of you who just came in, those of you who are listening in the background, remember, even if you're driving, you know what I mean? Y'all text and drive sometimes. Stop and hit that like button. Don't crash though. I mean, I pray for you. You know? What's good, Drell? What's good, Sadiqa, Texas T, Marquee? You know what I mean? Everybody. Agent 9 was in here. New House is in the joint. You know what I mean? I'm gonna give all my AKs a shout out while y'all do y'all thing. Let me see who in here. Reezy. Reezy always in here, man. Reezy be going in. Reezy don't miss nothing. Reezy, what do you do, man? Robert Baz is on this joint. You know what I'm saying? These are my AK. Troy Dudley is a throwback. That's what's up. I like seeing Troy in here. Troy always got some good football knowledge too, man. Data Yoda, you know what I mean? Another one. Y'all be going in. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all make this fun. Oh man, Marcus W. Montgomery, the MMA ball. He can fight. You know what I mean? Agent 9 already spoke to you, Brody. And who else we got in here? That's I hope I ain't missed nobody that really be on. Oh, Alpha Mason, I almost missed you. He was early. Almost missed you, Brody. But yeah, make sure y'all joining up. Let me see where y'all at with the likes, and then we can get it going. Hold up. Let's see where we at now. All right, there we go. We at 86 and 109. Now we can talk. That's all you gotta do. You know what I mean? It ain't that hard. It ain't that hard. That's all you gotta do. Dan Tech, what's up? He said, Koye, do know jersey numbers. Cheers. Yeah, I know jersey numbers. Yeah. Do know the jersey numbers. Cheers. Yeah. I thought you was talking about New Jersey. I'm in New Jersey. He said, Koye got that Sharpie. What's up, Terrell Lindsay? Yes, I do. Just seen my barber a couple hours ago. I was looking crazy. I was looking like I pump gas for a living. Ain't nothing against pumping gas for a living, but I was really looking like it. I was looking rough out this, you know. Like, you know what I mean? You don't know. All right. He said, I used to box too, 21 and 0, but on Knockout Kings. He said, how the pups doing? They getting fat as hell, man. Common Sense Labs, they over there chilling. I got a little pool set up where she gave birth. She just over here in the corner, so I can always see her while I'm streaming, and she don't get into nothing. I can leave her out without her. She really a good mom though. She don't really do nothing to him. I don't really come and check on her like that no more because only thing she does because she's so big, like she like 140 pounds, 120 pounds, but she step on them sometimes. I hear them squeal, but they tough to the motherfuckers. They be taking it. All right. Okay, what if when O contracts come up, the Cowboys put transition tag on him, cut Mulugheta off at the pass? I don't know. We'll get into that. Let me see one more time. I did a little tape workout on the undrafted free agents. I'm interested in our OTs, our offensive tackles, hoping one can really step up quick. I think our tackles are good anyway. I think that when you got a good balanced team, you help your tackles out. And when you run some big personnel, you help those guys out. I don't think they're obviously the greatest tackles in the game, you know, but serviceable enough to win. They just got to stay healthy. And I'm waiting for Guyton to kind of get up there and graduate a little bit. All right. Okoye, I got a question. Do you believe our tight ends were an issue because Lunda Wells was gone last season? I'm excited to see Dak on the seam route again. Yo, I didn't know Lunda Wells was going last season, but that does make sense because Ferguson had a down year too, so might have been an issue. I heard somebody, me and a friend of mine, actually Chris from Cowboys Beat, Chris Kreshman, we argued about Ferguson, you know, a couple days ago. So that's a good point. I didn't even know that. I would have brought that up. Okoye, I had a couple of Cowboys fans talking about Overshawn isn't a CP guy. I can't say that because us fans don't know much about CP. Your thoughts? I don't think anybody on last year's defense is a CP guy. A CP is like this. If he don't know you, he got to get to know you. Obviously, if you look at Morris Leofile, I mean, we love him. I like him. He's one of my favorite players from last season. He didn't get on the field last year. Why? He wasn't an Eberflus guy. And obviously, he's not a CP guy either because CP don't know him, right? CP wants certain guys that he knows and that have performed at a high level already because then he can get a beat on who you are. I think he's going to give everybody a fair shake in training camp, but he's not going in blind thinking like you already cool. Those who are untouchable, whether it be because Jerry said they're untouchable, or because he actually liked their film, he ain't bothered with them very much. Like Bland, Revel, he didn't go invest in a bunch of corners, right? He just give me my nickel guy and go give me Kobe Durant. That means everybody else is probably fighting for that other second corner position, which is probably going to be Bland, right? So CP's getting what he wants because he's the one that has to cook the food. So why wouldn't he be buying the groceries, right? So I'm not mad at that. I don't think Overshawn is necessarily a CP guy, but we'll find out. I don't know if Overshawn's a guy that's just an instinctive player. He doesn't seem like the brightest bell of the ball, so to speak, because of the things he does when he's pursuing out of bounds. I told you guys in another video, he kind of dives out of bounds and does crazy stuff that I think is kind of unbecoming of a smart player. We saw Sam Williams do a lot of that penalty type stuff. He wasn't getting penalties for it last year, but he just kept diving at guys' legs while they were already out of bounds. I'm like, are you crazy? Why do you keep doing that? And as soon as someone gets hurt when he's doing it, he's gonna get suspended or fined or penalized. Okoye, what the big fuss about the damn number? Well, Down's number is, I mean, I don't know. People want him to wear number 2. You know why? And this is what I think. It's the off season. We got to talk about something. So people are talking about that because it's weird to see him in number 18. Plus, he's a long-term player. So they look at Kobe Durant as being on a 1-year flyer, and maybe that does make sense. But I don't think it's as big as a deal as people are making it out to be. I just think it's right now that's the topic. Ah, man. Toxic Splendor Pappy. That's a hell of a name. He said, here we go, Okoye. Geta does it from all from his cut. They said Geta. Oh, talk about Mulugheta. Does it all from his cut. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you for becoming a member, good brother. Like your name, though. It's crazy. All right, y'all going in. Y'all know how y'all do. Y'all go so crazy in the chats that I could spend 30 minutes talking about it. Cowboy politics was good. Appreciate you joining up. Got a super chat. I'm gonna say this one, then we're gonna get into the conversation. NFL GMs need to ask how many Mulugheta clients are winning playoff games and Super Bowls. They don't need to ask. They already know. Now, let's get into the point, right? Now, when I'm talking about agents, I'm not a hater, right? I remember Jerry Maguire. I grew up on Jerry Maguire, right? Everybody loves a good agent. I love a good agent. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mad at an agent. I don't think they are shady by nature, right? But when you look at an agent, his job is to get the best deals available for the players. And that's a subjective thing that we look at, because when you think of the best deals, what's best for you might not be what's best for me, right? Some people tell me, hey, Okoye, you should be a scout. Hey, Okoye, you should be a coach. Hey, Okoye, you should work for the Cowboys. I have never, Sadiqa has said that, and I have agreed. I said, okay, you can do it. You can go ahead and shop me around for certain things. But I live in New Jersey. I don't plan on moving to Dallas. My family and my businesses are in Philly. Don't plan on moving to Dallas. Number one. Number two, they wouldn't pay me enough to be a scout. I'm not working for $50,000 a year when I have a business. So I was like, okay, that's not best for me. That's what's best for you, or what you think is best for me. You get what I'm saying? So I think sometimes people think that what's best for the player is the biggest paycheck, and I think that's what a lot of agents have come to think are the best deals. The highest paid player in NFL history at this position, yada, yada, yada. We know how that goes, right? Highest paid non-quarterback. That sounds good, but who is it for? Who does it serve? In most cases, it serves the agent who gets a percentage. 10% is 10%. So the higher I get you paid, the higher I get paid, right? Especially if I got a collective of people who I'm getting 10% from. I do understand the game, and I do like money just like everybody else. So I'm not a hater in that regard. I don't look at Mulugheta and say I don't like Mulugheta because of the money that he makes the players. It's not really that. It's when you look at players, like I said, when you think of what's best for the player, it is subjective and it's case by case. It's not always the biggest check. Sometimes it's legacy. Sometimes it's the quarterback that you're working with, a la Tee Higgins or George Pickens, right? Sometimes it's the defense that you're on, Micah Parsons, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Well, when you look at it from those angles where it's like, okay, the team fit, scheme fit, and everything else has to play into it. That's definitely something you want to pay attention to. And then when you look at long term, not just your players, but the players coming behind your player, are you paving a way that helps those guys behind behind the players that you're getting signed, or hurts them? And I argue that that's where me and the Mulugheta rift begins, right? I think that a lot of when you look at a lot of the players that he's gotten big contracts, not the average contracts, because those guys exist, right? You know, like Xavier Rhodes, those guys, they get good, okay contracts. You know what I mean? Antoine Winfield Jr., good contract, still over there with Tampa Bay, still doing what he's supposed to do. Good, not record setting, right? But those contracts, like to begin this level anyway of contracts, like when he got to the top tier of agenthood, it was 2022, right? Before we get into the 2022 conversation, though, we'll talk about the real Jerry Maguire, who was, I think, Drew Rosenhaus, right? One of those guys. Drew Rosenhaus got a bad rep during an era when I was growing up, where he had clients like T.O., Ocho Cinco, you know what I mean? He had guys like Willis McGahee, who was a big one. I love the fact that he got Willis McGahee a contract. He showed Willis McGahee squatting like 600 pounds after that repaired reconstructed knee surgery, and Willis McGahee got himself signed, right? I respected that because Drew Rosenhaus, although he had a bad rap, he was an agent for the player who was bastardized by the NFL. So the guys that had the personality issues, the injury issues, he was the guy, the shark, that could kick his foot, put his foot in the door and kick the door open so that you could, run and do what you needed to do in the game, right? So I don't compare Mulugheta and Drew Rosenhaus. I actually kind of respect some of the things that Rosenhaus would do. I think that some of his players' antics were crazy, right? T.O.'s doing sit-ups in his driveway. That's wild, right? But they were effective, and I give him that to a degree. Nobody liked some of the things that T.O. did. Nobody liked some of the things that Ocho did, right? But he was a guy that could speak to and speak for some of those off-field issues. And if you had any off-field issues, like if you were Marquise Bell, you were probably one Drew Rosenhaus right now, right? Those types of agents are necessary, and I do think that they earn their money, right? So I'm not comparing the two because people all have done that, and I'm not shitting on Drew Rosenhaus. I kind of understand his necessity in the game, right? But when I get to Mulugheta, the difference between having a unruly guy like a T.O., who you think is unruly, right, and getting him a job, but he still performs when he gets the job, and Ocho Cinco as well, and Willis McGahee. They all had great careers. They all did what they were supposed to do after getting the money. That's where the rift begins. So when you go to 2022 that we spoke on earlier when I was talking about Mulugheta, you have to go to him breaking into the quarterback rankings where the big money is, right, with the Deshaun Watson deal. Now, a couple of things came up. When you look at that type of deal, you say, okay, Deshaun Watson must have known that the lawsuit was coming because, and there was like a bidding war as well. I think Cleveland, Atlanta, Carolina, and a couple other teams were interested, along with the Texans, right? And they all were interested in Deshaun Watson. So Mulugheta had all of the leverage in the world because a franchise quarterback is rare. They don't come across the line every day. And the Browns needing a quarterback and having been in a quarterback drought for so long had no real leverage in the deal. They had to really sell their soul to acquire what they thought would be a franchise-changing quarterback that they can hang their hat on. And if that's what they, in fact, had paid for with the $230 million 5-year extension or deal that they gave him, then I could understand, like, if he was still performing every year, even if they're not making the playoffs, but they got a quarterback, they know they got their guy, it wouldn't have been that bad of a deal. But having a fully guaranteed $230 million deal, and I'm not mad at nobody making no money. I'm a capitalist. I want to make money too, right? But I want to make money doing the job. Like if you guys jumped up right now to 1 million members and I was making $3 million a month, see, I'm manifesting right now. But if I was making it, I would still jump up here and do these lives. It might be AI doing it, You know what I mean? That I designed or something like that. But I would still be on this joint. You know what I mean? You would get what you pay for, is what I mean. Being funny. But seriously, when I looked at the trend of the players, not just because of injury, but also because of the incentives or lack thereof, you notice something real quick. The types of guys that he gets deals for, especially like Deshaun Watson, they don't really perform because they don't have any incentive to perform. And it lets you know a little bit more about the player as well, right? Are you about legacy? Meaning, are you looking to have a great career, or were you looking to play football to get paid? And there's a lot of different people out there, and they have their reasons, right? I can't tell you, I don't know where you come from. I can't tell you, hey, don't get your money. But it's a reason businesses pay employees a certain amount of money, right? I don't want to pay a guy so much that he don't want to come to work on Monday. I don't. I need him to show up. So I need a certain tier guy. Like I might see a guy that's overqualified or underqualified. Like, hey, I give him $1,000 a week. He going to binge, and he might hit the bar or the block a little too hard on Saturday. You know what I'm saying? Well, Emilio Sparks, rapper from Philly, said, and I pay him on Sunday. You pay him Friday, you won't see him for the rest of the weekend. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. So some guys are bad with money. I get it. Some guys are bad with money because when they get the money, they lose their hunger, their drive. I think that Deshaun Watson is of that ilk, although he has been injured, severely injured with 2 Achilles injuries. But I think that those injuries come from the lack of preparation and focus on the game, along with the missed 11 games due to suspension when he first got the contract. So what they did with that contract initially was, they made it seem like it was team friendly first year because of an extension. So the first year, the salary was only $1 million, right? But he only missed a portion of that $1 million when he got suspended, but he got a $45 million signing bonus, and they couldn't get that back. So he missed 11 games the first year he came to Cleveland. Very next year, he missed another 11 games. Very next year, he missed another 11 games. And then last year, missed every game, all 17 games. So he's only played 19 games. And I think he won 5, maybe. I don't know how many he even won. But he only played 19 games since he signed a $230 million fully guaranteed deal. And you see, obviously, they don't think they have an answer at quarterback because we know about Shedeur Sanders, we know about Dylan Gabriel, and now they just, drafted another guy, right? You don't do those things after. I don't even know if I don't know if the GM who did that deal is still employed, but he shouldn't be, because after making a deal like that handcuffs your franchise for so long, I don't think that you should be looking for a quarterback. Shedeur shouldn't even be here, right? But Shedeur has become the answer because he's an inexpensive answer. That's why getting Shedeur in the 5th round was so effective, because he's on a 5th round contract, but he might give you a franchise quarterback out of that. And, you can figure it out down the line. That's pretty smart. By the time Shedeur is up for contract, for a major contract, especially if you limit his play, right? If you don't let him play fully, that's why the Deshaun coming back and might be the starter this year. That's kind of crazy. But if you limit Shedeur's play, then you can limit his pay when it comes time to pay him. And if you can limit his pay, then once Deshaun Watson's career with Cleveland is over, near the end of this contract, I think they can get rid of him in 2027, 2028. I don't know for sure. But whenever that's done, now you have the resources to allocate to Shedeur. But look how long they had to wait, and look how little play they got out of Deshaun Watson. So when the NFL saw that deal, they all said, we'll never let this happen again. And I was one of the people that was happy for the NFL players getting guaranteed contracts. We've all seen NBA players sitting on the bench, healthy scratches, because they got guaranteed money too, and hampering certain franchises. We all seen that, right? But in the NFL, we were like, hey, these guys put their body on the line. They need some guaranteed money. I understand it. And I did understand until I started seeing certain things. Even in NIL, I had my conversations about that. These young players need to get paid, but they get paid now. They're transferring. Everybody's a mercenary. Some of them are staying in school longer. Which, hey, get your degree. That's great, right? But you got guys entering the draft who probably should have never been drafted because that's all you got left. You know what I mean? You got 25, 27-year-olds entering the draft. You're like, God damn. Now, somebody joked and said the 49ers got older in the draft, which they probably did, which is crazy because their average age of their draft picks were like 25. I'm like, wow, right? Now, you could argue good or bad on that, but we're not talking about NIL right now. We're on, Deshaun Watson. So when you look at his lack of play, you got to blame the leverage that Mulugheta used in order to get that deal closed. But that deal was so magnanimous and so exceptional that other players say, hey, he going to get you paid. And he uses leverage to do it. So the leverage that he had with Deshaun Watson is one of a kind because he's a quarterback. When you look at Christian Wilkins, right? Or is it Wilkinson? No, Wilkins. Christian Wilkins. And that's another thing. Deshaun Watson with the massage thing is like a little weird, man. Christian Wilkins, same thing. Look, a lot of his clients got some real gippery, stories, narratives going around in names. That's another thing. That's another pattern that I've seen. But, we ain't going to talk about Micah. We're not going to talk about Wilkins. We're not going to talk about Deshaun. But if you know, you know. Kind of weird. But it is what it is. Hey, I don't tell a man what to do in his free time. Just don't try to do me. And you know what I mean? It is what it is. Anyway, getting to the point. When you look at Wilkins, though, Wilkins did the same thing with the Dolphins. He had an exceptional year in 2023. He played on his fifth-year option in 2023. And then in the offseason, he signed with the Raiders, who obviously were regretful because, in 2024, he had the Jones fracture to his foot, which is difficult to come back from for a defensive tackle in the first place because the amount of pressure and weight that they put on their feet and lower extremities. That's a hell of an injury to come back from, right? I'm just going to open your chat real quick just to make sure you guys can still hear me. All right. Good. Perfect. Just making sure. Okay. So back to the point. 2024, Wilkins doesn't play. He played 4 games, got hurt, had a good start, but broke his foot. Okay. Well, after that, I think in 2025, beginning of 2025, he got kicked off the team for kissing one of his teammates on the head and went to HR and said, I don't like that shit. Don't kiss me, which is weird, but he did it. Right. And I think the other piece of it was he didn't get a second surgery that was required or was asked and requested by the team. He chose to go another route and get a second opinion. So the team says, oh, we know where we've seen this movie before. Deshaun Watson was at the NBA YoungBoy concerts chilling, him and his wife having a good old time. Don't look like he was focused on football that much, right? Same thing with Wilkins. They say, hey, we got to pay you this $54 million guaranteed, $57 million guaranteed anyway. We don't want to pay you if you're not focused. And if we see you're not focused, we're going to avoid that if we can. And they use the HR infraction to try to get some of that money back because they know this game. We've seen it before, right? So like I said, that Deshaun Watson deal hurts future players that may or may not be trying to get over. Wilkins might have been really trying to heal. But nobody's giving you the benefit of the doubt with guaranteed money no more because we've seen how this movie ends several times. It's going to change the way teams structure deals, right? Moving forward, when you see, guys like Micah Parsons, we saw that movie, right? Well, Micah Parsons, same game plan. And here's the thing, right? When you look at Deshaun didn't end up with the Texans, did he? He ended up with the Browns, right? Christian Wilkins didn't end up with the Dolphins. He had a hold in. He played, but he ended up with the Raiders, right? Who also didn't want him. So, and then this is 2 for 2 with that. The 2 biggest contracts initially didn't end up playing very much for the teams they went to. They got injured, set out, and those teams lost a lot of money, time, and resources due to the fact that those guys didn't go there and play. Deshaun ain't played no ball. Wilkins ain't played no ball since he got the contract. Still getting paid, though, today. You know what I'm saying? Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons just hurt himself last year. So he played most of the season, but it's going to be a little minute, and he's getting paid crazy money, too. You know what I'm saying? So when you got those type of guarantees, but you have no incentive to get up and play ball, that can become a problem. And it can definitely hamper a franchise. Not just your personality, but the contract itself, right? Micah Parsons was playing the same game that those guys were playing. He leveraged himself against the team, when he sat on that training table, when he was sitting there talking to the media, dancing in the videos, you know what I'm saying? That left a nasty taste in Jerry's mouth, especially with the pseudo negotiation that they say he had prior to bringing Mulugheta into the conversation, right? So Micah Parsons is now with the Packers. I think the Cowboys won that trade, but he's now with the Packers. Even when you look at Wilkins, when he left, Wilkins, and they ended up the Dolphins ended up being able to go get Jordan Brooks, who everybody want now, right? But they ended up getting Jordan Brooks and 4 other players for that money that they would have had to pay Wilkins. So I think the Dolphins were smart to have gotten rid of him because obviously he ain't played no ball since, right? But when you look at Micah Parsons, same conversation, same leverage, same game. He's not looking to get the players what I think is best for them. Meaning you dance with the chick who brung you and you stay with the team that honestly knows you, likes you, they drafted you, and they've invested in you, right? I'm not saying you have to sell your soul to that team, right? But at the same time, when you understand, if you're looking at it from Micah's perspective, I said this, I'm like, it's simple math. Texas is a no state tax state like Delaware, right? That makes a big difference when you're making millions. And then if you have a clause where you're not making when your future earnings are not long term, meaning these deals are only 3 to 4 years, then you get taxed even more in a state like Wisconsin, which is crazy. So he's getting taxed crazy, and the incentives and the endorsements aren't the same. So you could have made an argument real easy to say, hey, stay where you are. If you're the agent, really stay where you are. You're gonna make more money in the long term anyway. Plus, your legacy here is right. I don't think Mulugheta ever says that to any client, and I think he actually loathes clients that even think this way, right? That brings me to guys like Pickens and Overshawn who have signed with him here, and it tells you, if you look at what his history has been, especially with guys who want big money, like Parsons, like Watson, like Wilkins. He's going to leverage whatever George Pickens does this year against the team, right? Now, we've seen this story before from a wide receiver, Tee Higgins. Now, Tee Higgins played on 2 franchise tags. He was tagged twice, where he made almost $50 million being tagged 2 years in a row, which at that time was the top 5 pay for any wide receiver, what you're going to get for a franchise tag. You're going to get the top 5 at your position. So at that time, that made sense for Tee Higgins, even though he probably didn't like the fact that he's not getting the long-term money. You got Jamar Chase and you got yourself over there. So when people say, oh, when you franchise tag me and say you don't trust me long-term, doesn't necessarily mean that, but it does mean like we can't pay 2 wide receivers the best money in the league at the same time. That's hard to do. Somebody got to chill, or both, right? Especially when you're a franchise that has a quarterback that you have to pay to, and these guys all want to win, right? But I remember Joe Burrow coming out in support of Tee Higgins, saying that he was an integral part of them winning and their offense and the way defenses played them and all that. I respected that, right? And I also respected what Tee Higgins did. And people said, hey, Tee Higgins has one of the worst wide receiver contracts in the game because they can cut him when they want, but they haven't cut him. So he's still getting paid the money. That's number one. Number two, he got $115 million for 4 years, right? After 2 franchise tags. So altogether, his contracts that he's already earned for those 2 one-off years was $50 million plus the $115 million. So, in essence, in the over 6 year span, he's going to get $167 million out of Cleveland. And if they do cut him, guess what? That's not a bad thing. He hits the market and can double dip and get another payday if they decide to opt out of this contract, which doesn't hurt him at all. So, and he does what everybody wanted him to do initially, which is just go to another team for top dollar, which is what he's doing now, right? When you can even add Calvin Ridley from the Atlanta Falcons to this equation, since we're talking about wide receivers, who's another Mulugheta client who got hurt. Mulugheta got him a contract over there in Tennessee, and now he just had to restructure his deal because Tennessee wanted some of that money back. And they just went and drafted in the top 5 Carnell Tate. So they went out and paid top dollar for Calvin Ridley, and they're like, hey, we need some of that money back because we now are going to go draft a guy that's going to cost us some money eventually as well. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not getting what we want out of you right now. Get me? So it's a trend of that going on with Mulugheta clients. When you look at GP, the leverage, in my opinion, isn't there. When you look at the fact that you weren't doing the things you were doing until you got here. And I think Dak likes you. You like Dak. No guarantee of when you're going to go. But he has to ask himself, does he want the paper or does he want legacy? You're going to get long paper, long money if you choose legacy. I don't think a lot of agents are telling these players that. You know what I mean? Ray Lewis he wasn't always trying to be the top paid linebacker in the game. Luke Kuechly wasn't always trying to be the top paid linebacker in the game. You know what I mean? Jerry Rice wasn't always the top paid wide receiver while he was playing. You know what I mean? It ebbs and flows. Sometimes it was up there. It's gonna get paid good money, but Michael Irvin didn't try to go nowhere. Jerry Rice didn't try to go nowhere. Tim Brown didn't try to go nowhere because they knew, hey, we're building something here, and I'm an integral part of what goes on here. The grass ain't always greener, and I deal with the devil I know versus the devil I don't. You get what I'm saying? So when you look at GP and you look at the fact that he hit the market or somewhat, and he didn't get the returns or the offers that they thought they would get or he thought he would get, it kind of tells you, okay, the leverage game is going to be, a long game this time, right? Now, if I'm a betting man, if George Pickens sticks with Mulugheta, he's likely going to play somewhere else, whether it be this year, he might play on that franchise tag this year for the 27, or or we wind up trading him for something valuable, and we do that. I don't want to do that. I'll tell you that right now. Talent wise, I will want George Pickens to be here, but business wise, I don't like the games that are being played, and he's using each player to wage war on the NFL and the contracts as it stands, trying to disrupting an industry. I understand that game when it comes to business. You look at taxis, Uber has disrupted that. You look at, restaurants, DoorDash has disrupted that. And that's a new way to do things, right? Disruption is a part of business, a part of life. You know what I mean? We used to all catch the bus. Everybody's driving. Then some people are driving electric cars. Some people are letting electric cars drive them. You know what I mean? So disruption is a real thing. And disrupting the agent market, I think right now people are looking at it the wrong way, because at this point, with NILs being the way they are, and with players having more visibility, more leverage, and on 360 purview, it's making agents a little more obsolete, especially with the CBA, than the players who are not business savvy would understand. I think Lamar Jackson, think he understood it, but he was going too hard with his mom. He thought, he zigged when he should have zagged, right? I think. But when you look at that, the fact that the CBA is going up anyway, when you say, hey, I got these guys the greatest deal they could get, and at their position, well, look at Will Anderson. Right after the Micah Parsons deal, Will Anderson goes and get the extension, and because he just set a precipice or a precedence on what the industry or the market is now, and now the next guy wants that. That's just how the game goes, because the CPA keeps going up every year. So next year it'll be somebody getting a bigger deal than Micah Parsons and Will Anderson and so on. So the agents being there, at that right place, right time, take ownership of that. But any player that hits free agency is probably going to get top dollar because of the bidding war and the demand that they have on the open market. That's any player. That's most players, right? So when a agent strategy is, let's test the market, if that's your strategy, it means I have no real leverage or ability to negotiate with teams to get you what we think you can get from the team, and I have no incentive or no care in the world in regards to trying to negotiate in good faith with that team. And the reason I say that is because, and back to Jerry Maguire, if you're trying to get a contract out of the team, you understand the team is looking for certain things, and the players looking for certain things. And good business is when all parties walk away as happy as can be. A good businessman is a good middleman. If you're a good agent, you're a good middleman. You're not tilted in one way or the other. A good agent is the middle of the seesaw, meaning we need to find balance here. I need to make sure the team is happy because they're the ones going to have to keep paying you, not just pay you up front. But I also need to make sure my player is happy and protected long term, not just from a monetary standpoint, but what is best for his career. When you look at dual wide receiver threats in teams in the past that have had them, you had Larry Fitzgerald, and you had Anquan Bolden. They stayed together as long as they could. Anquan eventually left, right? But they stayed together as long as they could. You had Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt. They stayed together. I don't think Alvin Harper, I think he played later in his career for maybe the Bucks, I think. But he stayed with the Cowboys with Michael Irvin as long as he could. You know what I'm saying? And understood that he's the number 2 receiver there. When you look at, Terrence Williams, I think his name was, with Dez, he ain't never played nowhere else either. You know what I'm saying? He played here the whole time. Dez sort of, He went to other teams, but then hurt his Achilles, I think, for the Saints, and that was a wrap. When you look at, you can keep going, but there's Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne. You know what I mean? They understood the game. They understood what was going on. I don't think that those types of decisions get made in this era as much because everybody wants to be the highest paid player at their position. And if you got the guy, if your ego's not small enough or in check enough or humble enough to look at the guy across the locker room from you and say, it's okay if he's making a couple more dollars than me or less, you know what I mean, because of what we're building here, then those types of days are dynamics are almost impossible in today's NFL. And it's because the agents are not being forthcoming and as honest as they should be with these players. Especially when, like I said, when you look at Tee Higgins and what he's made, like I said, the $40 million guaranteed money that he's making right now, plus the $50 million, almost $50 million that he's already made off the franchise tags in just 3 years, meaning the franchise tag back to back plus the signing bonus or the guaranteed money, $40 million. Right? You already made $100 million in 3 years. You made $100 million. You know what I'm saying? He knows what he's doing. Everyone else is, sideline watching and talking about his contract itself right now. And even Mulugheta, and the reason I bring him up is, and I bring his contract up is, Tee Higgins is the one that got away. And you see where he's playing and you see where he stayed. Mulugheta obviously doesn't like that sort of thing because the moment Tee Higgins said, hey, he was holding out at first. He was trying to fight and trying to go with it. The moment he just decided, hey, I really just want to be here. I want to stay where I'm at. Mulugheta said, you need to get another agent. You know what I mean? He got him out of here. Why is that? Because you just removed all of Mulugheta's leverage by saying you want to be here. Saying you want to be there, saying you want to stay is not what Mulugheta is good at. He's not going to negotiate with the team because he knows there's an impasse where he can't get anywhere with those types of deals at some point. And I know people thinking that I'm a hater. I ain't a hater. I make enough money to be chilling. I'm not mad at another person, black, white, Asian, or bronze, making money. Make your money. Get it. But I call a spade, and I don't see very much negotiation. Unless you're looking at Antoine Winfield Jr., I don't see a lot of his clients negotiating to stay where they at and get the best bang for their buck where they already are. His game is leverage and leveraging the market because he knows once you hit that open market, he's going to get you paid anyway. He knows, hey, if I trade you to a team that's desperate because we've seen that you no longer can stay where you are, we're going to get you paid anyway. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get you paid. It's just like if you announce that you're breaking up online, everybody jumping in your DMs. You know what I'm saying? You now hot. The easiest way to get a chick, most guys, is to have a chick. You walk into a bar with some fine shit on your arm, some fine shit going to approach you. You know what I'm saying? Is with everybody looking, the chick, you know what I mean? It don't matter if you're ugly, broke, none of that. You have some bad chicks with you and go to the bar. See how easy it is to get another chick. That's leverage, man. But can you walk in there cold? Can you walk in there by yourself and walk out with something? Can you do that? I'm looking at Mulugheta. I'm thinking the same thing. Do you negotiate really? Or do you leverage the inevitable, which is what George Pickens actually referenced in the first place? Do you leverage the inevitable against teams and against the players themselves? I think he does. And I think that's, obvious, especially when you look at the Tee Higgins situation, the way that impasse ended. So for teams and for fans, because fans forget, we pay the players. We pay the teams. So the fans have paid Deshaun Watson to do what? Play ball. Has he done it? No. That should be your number one thought process. But when you look at the length, long term, we don't know what happens. Just like people don't know what happens after the jab long term because we haven't had enough time to see what the results of the jab are going to be. You've seen the commercials like, have you used Johnson & Johnson baby powder? You know what I mean? And they got class action lawsuits 30 years later. You know what I mean? Why? Because you see the long-term effects after time passes. David Mulugheta, like I said, just hit that stratosphere in 2022. We haven't seen any of his clients have to go for a second contract with any of the teams that they've gone to. Why is that? Because he looks to get you as much money as he can get you short term, which is great. But what does it do for you in your career long term? Now, I'm not talking injuries. Yeah, when there's an injury, you should be compensated to a degree. But how much should you be paid really to have been hurt in a game where you haven't performed? because of your potential. How much do they owe you if you haven't done it? When I say, now, if you're a 3-time Super Bowl champ, you get in there, you like Mahomes even, you get hurt and they still got to pay you something. Cool, I understand. You get CTE, you fucked up in the game, and they got to pay you because of the sacrifices you made, like the Earl Campbells of the world. I get it. Marion Barbers, I get it. Pay that man, right? But how much do they owe you if you've never fulfilled the potential that they paid you on? Deshaun Watson. Hey, Micah Parsons went over to the Packers. Packers ain't get the bang for their buck yet. Everybody keep talking like, they be like, oh, the Packers got a superstar. They got one. Is he going to perform like the superstar he was here? I don't. Does he even know? Nobody knows. I see we trying to get rid of Demarion Overshawn after his ACL injury. Why? Because they say, hey, he got hurt again, and then is he really bad? We don't know. We saw with Odell Beckham. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not betting against him. I'm just saying you don't know what the long-term effect of Mulugheta's contract negotiations are going to be, because none of those guys are getting second contracts yet. None of them. He's relatively new in that aspect. And I think that's where people and the players will start to understand what's happened, especially when you come into the game and you create a wave of record-breaking contracts that the owners all hate. Can't call it good business because you're not being a good middleman. A good businessman is a good middleman. There is no breaking of that rule, meaning we all have to walk away from the table as happy as can be, not as happy as we want to be. Some of us, we're all going to lose something in the negotiation, but we're all going to be as happy as possible, meaning I'm going to lose something, you're going to lose something. When you try to leverage the player against that dynamic, they walk away. Most business people walk away because if the price gets too high, or if you get to a point where you feel like you can't walk away from a deal, that's when you should walk away. That's for real. That's any deal. Some get too crazy where you're like, it got you by the balls, so to speak. Leave that shit alone. Whether it's a person, place, or a thing. That's just the game. That's the way it goes, right? So, as I said before, when I look at Mulugheta and I look at the things that have happened with a lot of the guys that he's gotten big contracts for, or the main guys that he's gotten the big contracts for, none of them have been able to fulfill the contracts to date. To date. You know what I'm saying? So I give him his credit. He's smart with the leverage. But I don't think that is the best for the players, and it damn sure ain't the best for the teams. That's why the teams that he's negotiating with walk away from the deal. And a team that's desperate, a desperate man will reach for a straw. A drowning man will reach for a straw. You know what I'm saying? So the Packers were desperate. They got it. But what did they lose? Lost Quay Walker. They lost Kenny Clark. They lost 2 first-round picks. Get what I'm saying? For what? What did they get? What did they get? Okay, you can answer that in the comments if you want. What did they get? Don't tell me sack machine superstar. No. Did they get a leader? Have they gotten a guy who's going to be a lineal Super Bowl champ or a leader in the game? He'll be all pro, maybe. You're going to keep doing that? Sure. He's notable? Sure. Did the Browns get a leader? No, they did not. Did he get a franchise quarterback? No, they did not. Did the Las Vegas Raiders get a Pro Bowl run-stopping, universal 365 defensive tackle? No, they did not. Did the Titans get a true number 1 in Calvin Ridley? No, they did not. That's why they're drafting one. You get what I'm saying? It's called fool's gold, folks. You know who did win out, though? The Bengals. Did they keep their guy? Did Tee Higgins still perform? Did his numbers go up or down since the contract? His numbers went up. Double-digit touchdowns last 2 seasons, right? With the quarterbacks or the quarterback that he's familiar with and a team that appreciates him to a degree where they understand his value. Now, guess what he'll also get? Most likely a second contract with that team because he's shown good faith and they've shown good faith. Get what I'm saying? And they all met in the middle. Now, when they factored in his contract, I'm pretty sure they looked at the fact they say, hey, we're about to give you another $40 million guaranteed. We just gave you 2 franchise contracts, 2. franchise tags back to back. Although you didn't like the franchise tags, let's stop pretending that the franchise tags are a horrible thing. You don't like them because it doesn't protect you long term. But we have paid you top 5 money for this 1 year. It's not like we're giving you a veteran minimum. Paying you top 5 money for this year, top 5 money again the year after to buy us some time to be able to sign you to something long term later. When you look at it collectively, I mean, I don't think he's that mad. He got $100 million already tucked away before the cut clause. They can cut him after 1 year after that, but he's already walked away with $100 million right now. If they cut him, $100 million, they already gave it to him. You know what I'm saying? Plus his bonuses, plus any restructures that he gets later on. Who knows, right? But I know one thing: they don't want to get rid of him. Why? Because he's already shown, I want to be here, and his quarterback wants him there, and he's productive still. None of the guys who stayed with Mulugheta got those big contracts are productive still. You can say Calvin really had an okay year. You know, they don't got a quarterback that's so crazy. Cam Ward is growing into the position, but none of the rest of those guys are productive. You could say it's because of injury, which it is. But why do you think teams don't want to pay players that much money? Why do you think running backs were devalued? Because after 3 years, they get injured usually, and now you're paying top dollar for what? A guy who might not get back to form, or whose body's taking more hits than anybody else on the field because he has to do everything, right? So running backs have been devalued. Safeties were devalued for the same reasons. They're the most injured positions. It's not because of their need on the field. People think, this is a misconception, just like the green dot is a misconception. People think the green dot means you are the smartest player on the field. It does not mean that. You can be the smartest, quiet motherfucker on the planet. If you can't communicate loud, your voice is low, you can't be the green dot. You know what I'm saying? Everybody might be intelligent on the team, but if you're not a linebacker and you're the most intelligent player, you're a defensive lineman, you're not going to be the green dot. Why? Because you don't play in a position where, you know, you do a little bit of everything. A linebacker is to communicate with the safeties and the DBs, and also communicate with the guys in front of them. That's why one of those guys have to be the green dot. You know what I'm saying? Is usually they want it to be the Mike, because the Mike is the center point of the defense, not because he's the smartest player in the room. That is a misconception. Please, people be it curls my shit when Clarence Thomas, or not Clarence Thomas, my bad, Clarence, what the fuck is his last name? Clarence Hill. When he asks about the green dot like every 2 weeks, I'm like, come on, bro. Why you keep asking who the green dot is? And why y'all keep saying it? Like, y'all got nothing else to ask, bro. No shade. I guess it's some shade. But it's like, what why you keep asking that? But the devalue of positions as well. People think that devaluing a position means the position is no longer valuable on the field or necessary. Running backs are very necessary. When they say they devalue a position or devalue a type of player, it's because they don't want to invest in it financially. It doesn't mean it's any less effective on the field schematically. People marry the two and they're not married, you know, at all. You need a kicker. Do you want to pay a kicker quarterback money? No. So he's devalued from a financial standpoint. But ask Vinatieri, you know what I mean? Or any of those guys, any of those are Grammatica, those guys at the end of games where they hitting those game winners, or Arbery even. Ask those guys how important. Ask us how important they've been when we can do certain things, like score at halftime from 60 yards out, or end of games we can kick it from 67 yards and know we might have a chance, right before overtime. Those types of people win games for you, directly win games. So they're very valuable to the scheme, but financially, there is a certain threshold that you're not going to go beyond, right? So understanding that nuance is definitely important for a lot of the fans out there, because I think they run away with it. They're like, they'll start talking about running backs and certain positions like they not necessary because the league has devalued the position. The league has devalued the position because of how much money they had to pay in the past for players who have not made it. When you look at even at quarterbacks, right? It's a reason why running quarterbacks, it used to be the black quarterback. And I think we've kind of put the nail in the coffin on the Mulugheta conversation. But I want to say this before I get into the comments. And this is a real thing, right? I know a lot of people think that it's a race thing because most athletic quarterbacks happen to be black, right? So it used to be a thing against the black quarterback back in the day. And people thought that was racist. They used to think that. I don't think that. I don't. I understand. And it doesn't matter if you're Tim Tebow or young Ben Roethlisberger or if you're RG3. When you have an athletic quarterback, no matter what, for the team and the coaches, you are a liability. And you're a guy that gets people fired. You're also a guy that has a longer learning curve no matter what you say than other players that have to play from the pocket. Reason being, a player from the pocket has to come to the line and understand what he's looking at because he knows I can't run away from these guys that's coming after me. I have to stare it down. I have to know what's happening. I have to stare it down, still throw the ball. I have to make timely throws from the pocket. I have to know how to climb the pocket. I have to know how to maneuver in the pocket and have a pocket presence and a clock. I have to do that. I have no choice or I die, right? Whereas if I can outrun a defensive tackle or a defensive end that ain't got that kind of speed, why the hell would I stand in there and take the hit? We understand that. But when you have that type of gift as an athletic quarterback, not as a black quarterback, but when you have that type of gift, what type of problem do you present to the coaching staff? What type of problem do you present to that organization? I'll explain. Your first year, the league doesn't know who you are. Jaden Daniels, RG3, Michael Vick, you name them. Randall Cunningham, Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts. You know what I'm saying? Tim Tebow. Your first year, the league doesn't know what to do with you. You can even look at running backs playing quarterback like the Wildcat. The league don't know what to do with you the first year. Why? Because they don't got no tape on you yet. So you're going to be successful, which makes it so the coach has to stick with you. The team has to stick with you. But now they've gotten a year in and you haven't developed as a pocket quarterback at all. You might still only read half the field and take off running, right? So if that's the case, which it is most times, the defenses now catch up to your tendencies. And if you're not growing as a player, Lamar Jackson and those guys, you're not growing as a quarterback in that second year or scouting yourself and you're just using your athleticism still, right? You're getting closer to the end of your rookie deal, you know, as you keep moving forward that way. And you're 3 years in, it's time to start talking about money. But 3 years in, you might have still just been a running quarterback that's winning, yes, Jalen Hurts. But are you developing your true essence of the game? Because if you devalue running backs because they get injured in 3 years or less or 4 years, they start breaking down. How do you value a quarterback that does the same thing but just throws the ball as well? You can't, because like Dak Prescott, like RG3, like Jaden Daniels, like Jalen Hurts, they get hurt when they run the ball. You're going to get hurt. And when you do, how much am I paying a guy who is now going to lead my franchise but going to be often hurt? Deshaun Watson. You know what I'm saying? So when you have that type of quarterback, it's harder to see how well and how good they're going to be until you start talking about money in year 3 or 4. And if you don't do what they did with Jalen Hurts, which is just pay him because he went to a Super Bowl, if you don't do that, right, now you have the ownership looking like they're shady, like they did with Dak, right? Hey, they look shady, but they're like, hey, until you stop playing like a fullback, we ain't paying you. Let's watch and see what you do. Can you do it? But Dak just rose to the occasion to a point where you forgot that Dak Prescott, and I'm saying this because of the dude that's in the comments talking about Dak, but when you watch Dak Prescott, now you forget that he was a running quarterback. That's how good he's gotten in regards to his pocket presence. You forget. When you watch the late Michael Vick, later in his career, he could throw the ball. But look how long it took him to develop that. Even Geno Smith, he's better now. You look at Randall Cunningham. Minnesota's Randall Cunningham is better than the Eagles' Randall Cunningham, in my opinion, the way he threw the ball. Totally different guy, right? Because they learned, but it took them years to learn it because, like I said, those first 3 years, you're relying on athleticism. Once they start talking about money, then the clock starts on your pocket presence development. And usually you get out of there in that first 5 to 6 years because you either got your coach fired or you got cut, traded, or whatever before you fully developed your ability to throw from the pocket. And that's the problem that they had with athletic quarterbacks back in the day. And now that's running rampant through the league. You got guys like, was it Richardson, who got drafted by Indy? You got Daniel Jones was doing it over there with New York. He got up out of there because they're like, yeah, all you doing is running. He a white boy. But he went over to Indy. Now he had started developing the skill while in New York and then got to Indy with the same team Richardson had and looked well. He made those guys look like they were something different, right? Now, Richardson, if you're not applying yourself, those types of guys are not going to go far in the league. They're not. So there's a lot that goes into not only the way I look at the game, try to look at it from an honest frame, but there's a lot that goes into the front office business side of it that people try to ignore because of their feelings, right? But those are real things, right? Having an athletic quarterback can make or break a roster or a team, especially if that guy is not earnestly trying to develop. What's his name? The dude from Arizona, little dude, forget his name. But there's a lot of I forget his name, bro. I always forget guys' names, man. You know what the quarterback is over there. He was over there. He's gone now. Somebody say it in the chat for me, please. Say it in the chat real quick. What's the kid's name? I'm going to remember it eventually. But either way, Kyler Murray, there you go. Kyler Murray. He's another one. Not dedicated to the game. They had to put in his contract, hey, you better watch a certain amount of film in order to get this money. They said you got to watch the film outside the organization, outside the facility. Why would you have to tell a guy that if they're already doing it? Because they're not doing it. You know what I'm saying? So, it's really a thing. It's really a thing, man. Let me get back up into the chat. It's been I really was loving this conversation. He say Micah still isn't the best player at his position. No, he's not. Not at defensive end or outside linebacker. He's not. I wouldn't even argue that. These players could just use AI probably to analyze deals, negotiate them. Now they could, yeah, with the new CBA and the way the money's climbing anyway, they definitely could. All right, this is where I was. Yep, this is where I was. Okay, so let's start from here. But at what point does giving a player all the money they want affect a team's ability to win? That's a fact. That's what we discussed earlier. The only person winning is him, and his cut from the clients is he wins the most money. I bet he's charging the same. Who knows? Who knows? Okoye, salute, fan in Jamaica. That's what's up, man. I see the Lion of Judah over there, man. Rastafari, right? Listen, man, I ain't gonna front. I'll tell you this, right? Funny story about Jamaica. I went to Jamaica 2024. I was on that flight from Montego Bay that almost crashed. I swear to God. We were told that we were crash landing in the water, right? I was on Spirit Airlines. The Joan was smoking inside. Me and my lady, we sitting in the front of the plane. I had to tell her because I like, oh, we're dead. But if I tell her we're dead, I didn't want her to cry or panic. She was cold as ice, right? But I like, we dead. But I said, put your feet up on this barrier because we didn't have a chair in front of us. We had a wall in front of us because we in the front of the plane. I said, put your feet up on it because if we crash land and somehow the cockpit gets pushed into our lap, at least we got a shot of keeping our legs safe if they're up against this wall. If we got our knees down and our legs to the floor, we might get pinned in here. And then we really done. We ain't going to be able to swim out of here or nothing. But I look up and the stewardess, the dude standing there, I said, he talking on the phone, but I'm close to him so I can see it. Like, that don't look right. I've been on a lot of flights and I ain't never seen that. He's talking, but he looks scared. So I said, hey, man, what's going on? He said, he just hit me with one finger. I took that motherfucking life reserve from under the chair and put it on before he said anything to anybody. And then right after he said that, he said, I need everybody on the plane to prepare for an emergency water landing. I said, man, we done. When the airport is right off the ocean. So when we get back to the runway, we didn't know we were back at the runway. They never announced that we wasn't crashing. We get back to because what happened was they couldn't elevate to above 3,000 feet because there was a problem with the pressurization in the cabin. Had they gone up any further, we would have lost cabin pressure and we really would have crash landed. They just caught it. The pilot caught it and turned around and went back. But when he got back, he never told us that we were going to make it back. They just announced to prepare for an emergency water landing. Everybody, I'm talking about grown men, kids, women, all of them behind us crying. like loud. You hear wailing and gnashing of the teeth. That's all. I'm like, it's over. This is the apocalypse for real. So we land. Everybody, give they whatever, praying or whatever. And we land, but when we land, we see water out of both windows because we can't see out the front of the plane. So only person that knows that we're not crashing is the pilot. Everybody else sees the ocean because the airport is at the beach. So we thought that as we got closer to the water, we thought we crashing because we can't see that we're landing. So when we actually hit the ground, everybody was like, "Oh shit!" You know how they say, what do they call it, quantum immortality, where it's like you died before, but you just came back in another version of yourself that lived in a multiverse or whatever. I'm like, maybe we really did crash. Who knows? And this is just the different version of Okoye or some shit. I'm like, that's interesting because I've been in a lot of near-death experiences where I look back at it, I'm like, I survived that shit. How? Like I survived robberies where I got pistol whipped and all that. I'm fighting a dude with a gun who told me to get in the car. Like he probably shot my ass. I'm just the version who actually survived. You know what I mean? I be thinking about that. But shout out to Jamaica because I said I'll never go back to Jamaica. That part was scary, and then the women, beautiful women, bro. They're the scariest women. I've been to DR, I've been to Colombia I've been to Colombia like 3 times. Been to DR, and I've been to Jamaica. Beautiful women, but scary as shit in the eyes. They dead serious. Like they had this timeshare that they were selling. And I was ducking and John because I was supposed to do the timeshare. I don't feel like doing that interview. I was like, I don't feel like going to that, John. She would just find me, bro. And she was dead serious. Her and the little skinny one, they was like dead serious. I said, do y'all get paid or something for these timeshares? They're like, yeah. I said, well, look, I don't want the timeshare, but I'm gonna just give y'all $100 each. That's my washing machine. But I was like, I'm gonna just give y'all $100 each. We just gonna pay y'all. Leave me the fuck alone. Stop following me, dog. That was crazy. But yeah, shout out to the Jamaicans in the chat, man. I love Jamaica, man, but that was wild. Wild story. I'll never forget that. He said, get the likes up. Main man got 13 dogs to feed. Dude. The dogs over there. I'll bring some of the puppies over here for y'all to see them before we go, man. In a minute. I'm going to go through these chats. Overshawn sees and reacts fast. He has to read before he reacts until it becomes natural to him. Just my honest opinion. You're not wrong. I like Overshawn a lot. I think that he needs to tone down a little bit, think a little bit more. The long game is usually the best move. It's always the best move, especially when you talk football. Agent 9 said he in North Jersey. I'm in South Jersey, man. I feel you. Robert Bass says, Okoye, we are blessed to have you share NFL wisdom with us. Appreciate that, man, for sure. Jay Bryant, what up, Jay? He said, actually, scouts make nice money, and you wouldn't have to move to Dallas. You just have to fly there from time to time and make reports. Oh, yeah, I didn't know. But yeah, I'm like, when I heard about the initial money, the entry level money for scouts, I said, I can't do it. Can't do it. I don't want to be a scout, man. Well, I would want to do what I do. Like, use me as a film analyst. Allow me to analyze each player like I do, but give me access to the top-notch technology so I could do it faster and cleaner. And then I'll give, you know how Schottenheimer says he gives each player things that they need to work on, a list of things that they need to that can make them better in the offseason that they should focus on. Oh, let me do that. Let me give you their game in a like a dossier or a file on them, right? And I will tell them what they need to do in that regard. I would love to do that. Yes, I'm promoting the Okoye name out there, and I feel he will be getting out there. I'm going. You already know. I'm going somewhere. I think if I'm like 50 or 60, I would coach Sadiqa. Not right now, but I would. If the agent is getting 10%, then he does. Then does that mean Green Bay paid $47 million for Micah just to pay Mulugheta? He's gonna get his 10%. Yeah, he said feed the greed is getting out of hand. It definitely is. His name is fitting. Mulugheta. Yeah, he's a Mulugheta. That's actually, I never thought about that. He's a Mulugheta. Yeah, Mulugheta $4.7 million a year. That's what Mula getting. Yeah, that's a fact. Like I said, I ain't hating on money. I like money just like the next man. I know he got a job to do, but the way, and not saying that you should never leverage the market against a team either. Some teams you should, but if that's your only strategy, you dirty macking. You ain't really doing the job. You're doing what the market was going to do anyway. Like people was arguing with me about Rashawn Gary, right? And I'm going to have Rashawn Gary's PR guy and his marketing rep Robert T on probably Tuesday. We're going to talk, but we talk about this a lot. We talk for hours, right? And I like the insights that he has from not only being a guy that's really the man when it comes to these NIL deals. That show Ballers, like he is like that for real. Like that's really how he is. And I don't mean he's a baller. I mean he's a guy that kind of like he makes agents obsolete, and he made it so that he empowered the player to be able to go out and be your own agent, so to speak, or your own representative or your own brand. I mean, a lot of the things that he's done where it's like, and I'll let him speak for himself. I don't want to speak for him, but a lot of things he's done is verifiable. And when you look at the relationships that he has and the way he moves in the game versus, other players and agents, it's kind of crazy. But when you look at the deal that people were talking about with Rashawn Gary, they said, oh, well, the Green Bay was going to cut him. You know what I mean? We got Rashawn Gary for what, a 4th-round draft pick, and then we paid him. He basically on like a 2-year prove-it deal, but getting good money, $32 million for 2 years. But he's basically we got him from a 4th-round draft pick. Now, if they would have cut him, if Green Bay would have cut him, he would have hit the open market, which creates a bidding war, which makes his price go up. So everybody who said, oh, we got him because Green Bay was going to cut him, y'all would have been bitching about not getting him on the open market because somebody else would have paid more money for him. You know what I mean? People don't pay attention to that. They don't, because they don't take the time to understand what they're really talking about. Every contract should be resetting the market. The best players should be the highest paid, not just everybody above average player. They need to set a max at this rate. Yeah. Everybody is getting the best player available money, best player ever money, and they not the best. And they really not going out to become that, right? Like right now, the highest paid non-quarterback at his position should probably be, if you're looking at defensive ends, it should probably be Myles Garrett. If I'm not, if I'm being honest, it should probably be Myles Garrett. And I'm not saying Myles Garrett ain't getting good money. He is, but he was getting that money, and then his money got toppled. Somebody topped that. But it should be on that type of scale where it's like you're not getting above this because your productivity and consistency is not above this. How the hell what are we paying you based off of? The CBA. They're paying you based off the salary cap increase. And I think it's killing it when it comes to quarterbacks because you got to pay quarterbacks ridiculous money, and they're not, a lot of them not great. You still got to pay them because that's what the market calls for. Crazy. Okoye, I love you. I love Dog, but is these players or agents' job to manage these teams' cap space? It's not these players. I guess that's what you're saying. It's not, but at the end of the day, like I said, and I don't have any problem with anybody who disagree with what I'm saying, because I could be wrong. Like Mulugheta, we're gonna see when it's time to get these guys re-signed to their second contract. I think that what's going to happen is he's going to ask these guys to hit the market yet again because he's not going to be able to negotiate with the teams that he sold these guys to in the first place. That tells you a lot. Like if you're some of these, like we talk about Megan Thee Stallion, right? If you've been on the carousel, so to speak, riding everything moving, and you got that WAP, right? Well, you might be hot on the market. Somebody might buy you, but it tell you a lot when everybody let you go. You know what I'm saying? Everybody turned you right back to the streets. So what that tell you? You know what I'm saying? Obviously, they didn't get what they thought they was getting, or they got what they wanted and they good. You know what I'm saying? Either way. Geta is the real issue because of his cut. He becomes money hungry. Probably. Okay, look at the fact that Anderson just got $50 million a year for 3 years, but Garrett's only getting 40. I'm not understanding the formula when Miles is the best sack artist in the game. The formula is the CBA, and now when the CBA comes back, Miles has to get more because they just keep resetting the precedent. Yesterday's price ain't today's price. That's basically what they're saying. That's what's happening. You know what I mean? Yesterday's price ain't today's price. The CBA each year gets renegotiated, and as it goes up, your pay goes up on a sliding scale. So a lot of people who were saying Dak ain't worth $30 million. Well, now Dak getting 60. Why? Or 50, whatever. Why though? Because that's what the market is now. Back when it was lower, it was 30. Each year it goes up, but look how fast it's going up. Look how fast that happened. Do you think that the NFL team should be able to pay the agent is so 10% of the cap isn't going to the agents? No. I mean, they should get their cut out of, because if the NFL is paying the agent, then the agent really doesn't work for the player, does he? He works for the NFL. I don't think it should be tilted in either one's favor. I don't think that a good faith negotiation isn't like this is a negotiation. You guys are negotiating right now. It's 200 of y'all on here, right? You're negotiating whether or not you're getting value for the things I'm saying. If you're not, guess what? If it's tilted all in my favor and you guys are all paying for memberships, everybody got to pay for this, right? If you all paid for it and you're not getting the content that you want, guess what? It's tilted in my favor and you gotta pay it every month. You're like, man, fuck this. I ain't doing that shit. You know what I'm saying? And now if it's all tilted in your favor and it's all free and I do this for free, I'm like, man, fuck this. I do. You know what I'm saying? It got to be a balance. I have to give value and you guys have to feel like you're receiving that value in order for you to keep giving me value. You get what I'm saying? It's a give and take. That's the way all business works. If somebody's walking away from the table mad, ask Des Bryant. I love Des. I got to hit him up about his podcast, right? I want to help him with it if you want to help. You know what I mean? But love him to death. My favorite wide receiver ever to play for the Cowboys. So I say this just in honesty. When he went with Rock Nation and they got him the money that he was looking for, not the money that Jerry wanted to pay him, yes, you're going to get it. But when it's time for you to get hurt, now you made it so that the owners are betting against the player that they just paid. That's never good because they lost at the table. They don't like you now, right? You know what I mean? So now that they lost at the table, they looking at you with the side eye like a woman that been cheated on. They're like, well, so when I get an opportunity, I'm taking you for everything because I don't like you now. I have resentment because of what we did in the negotiation. So now when they get to the point where you get injured or you start to slow down or you dip in productivity, they're not like, oh, no. We gave him a deal that kind of accounted for his dips in productivity. We don't care. It's going to ebb and flow, but we cool with you. No, they're not. They want their money back now. Or they're like, we can cut you and cut our losses. That's what usually happens. Now they're going to cut you and cut their losses. You know what I'm saying? So you got the money initially, you know what I mean, short term. But when it came to the long-term agreement, they are looking at you as a liability. And now you have to stay healthy, which is harder to do. The longer you go in your career, you're bound to get hurt. It's just the law of averages. Murphy's Law, whatever can go wrong will go wrong, right? So if that's the case, eventually you will slow down. And when you do, your team is waiting for you to chop your head off because of what y'all did at the negotiation table. You know what I'm saying? So it shouldn't be tilted in the team's favor or the player's favor. It should be balanced. It should be an understanding as to what we're doing here. Definitely. And it's not. So right now we getting what we get. Okoye, exactly 100% is going to happen to GP once you have a lot of weapons on that line. Yeah, GP is I think he's in the place he's supposed to be. But they're going to leverage him out of here. He says he's going to get less targets, less yards, and less money. Well, if he goes to another team, absolutely that's going to happen. Yeah. I thought it was crazy, so crazy. Deshaun getting $230 million guaranteed over 5 years, $46 million a year does not play now. Wow, he hasn't played really much at all since he got the contract. That's not what the contracts are for. That's not what the guaranteed contracts are about. And you just hurt the guys coming behind you. You know how they say, you know, and every black person kind of knows this, like, you know, because we had all these conversations about, you know, how you are the example, you know, you represent and you speak for the community or the people coming up behind you, right? Everybody always kind of carry that chip on their shoulder, especially when you're young and black. Our parents kind of teach us that, right? Like, you know, you set an example for those around you, you know what I mean? Don't set your people back 50 years, right? So when you look at that type of deal, you just set most quarterbacks back, especially black quarterbacks. They're like, hey, man, we don't ever want to do another Deshaun Watson deal. Most owners are saying this can never happen again. Now, if you'd have done it and it went well, you won a Super Bowl doing it, or you balled out, oh, they were like, oh, well, give me some of that. You know what I'm saying? So he just messed it up for a lot of guys coming behind him. Don't even realize it. We only had 3 weapons last season: CD, JW, and GP. Turpin was a weapon. Turpin was definitely a weapon. That number increases with Ferg and Trigg and Flournoy. Yep, Flournoy could have been, but it's only, you know, a couple balls. There's only one football. Got to go somewhere. His contract number is going to go down. They're betting against that, but even if it's not above. He got his numbers up because CD was hurt too. That's the other thing. So it's not like GP doesn't deserve money. Does he deserve to be the best paid wide receiver in the game, or does he have to be in order to be happy? That's where we get the argument. It's not like he don't deserve. We know he deserves some bread and good bread, but does it have to be 28 million, 30 million a year for you to be happy, or can you live with 20, 25? Can your ego live with that to stay in Dallas and stay with CD? You know what I'm saying? When CD go to renegotiate, if you got another receiver on the other side of you, can you live with not being the highest paid guy in the league at that time? They both got to do it at some point. Dak too. When it's time to renegotiate your contract, which I see him restructuring all the time. Can you give some of that money back to make sure we can get you some guys, some offensive linemen, some people to help your ass? Will you do it? Tom Brady did. Ben Roethlisberger did. Will you? If you won't, fuck you. And it ain't fuck you like get off the team, but it's don't complain about not winning, because this is what happens here. Aaron Rodgers did it. Brett Favre did it. You know what I'm saying? They had to. That's what wins. Drew Brees did it. You got to. They eventually, at some point, they made headlines for being the top paid guys or one of the top paid guys. But that goes down next year. Matt Ryan came and got more money than all y'all at some point, right? He was never better than those guys. Overshawn just signed with him. I wonder how the front office feels about that move. Good or bad, because Mulugheta will sacrifice Overshawn. He would get him a bum deal just to still have leverage. You ever heard of dollar per cost averaging? If you guys know what that means, they say, all right, I might pay more for this, but overall, I'm saving on these other guys that you have. So if you got 5, that's probably the strategy. He's trying to leverage Overshawn, GP, and whoever else he can get on the team. He said, okay, as a package deal, we're just looking at, let's say, $250 million altogether. All these guys, like, let's say you got 5, 6 guys, 4 guys. All right. These guys on the lower end will probably be, you want a little bit more for them. I'll work with you on all these contracts. You just allocate some of those resources to George, right? So that's dollar per cost averaging. The Cowboys are spending what they want to spend if they did it that way, but most of it's going to one player, and the rest of it's being dispersed across the other 4, right? Sacrificing those guys in order to pay the one, right? Looks good in the headlines because you still got GP top money. But those other guys, like, you look at his contract. You got a lot of deals that's like either they still on a rookie deal or they got low end deals. You got a lot of those too. You got a lot of low deals and the high deals. Not too many in the middle. It's either you going out the park or you low. It's just like there's no middle class in America anymore. There's no middle class in David Mulugheta's contracts or our client list. You know what I mean? For one reason or another, like I said. But I think we drove that point home well enough. And like I said, we'll circle back to it when Robert T comes on Tuesday. I think we'll get a better hit. One question I do got for y'all: how has the stream been? Because I haven't been watching or listening to what you guys are saying, and I don't see any feedback in here saying that it's jumping. So hopefully it's not jumping. I will rewatch it after this. I hope it's not jumping. T dealt with injuries too and played through it. A true X. Yeah, I like Tee Higgins. I hope GP plays out of his mind and the Cowboys pay him. Really love GP. I love GP too, but yeah, yeah. Okoye, totally agree. Viewpoint on business of the NFL. Appreciate the agreement, but you don't have to, but I appreciate it. Aikman made $55 million for 3 Super Bowls. That's $120 million in today's football. Yeah, I mean, that's light. That's light. He still was underpaid. If you're a great player, you don't need an agent. Yes and no. Yes and no. You don't necessarily need one. I don't think you need one when it comes to being a great player, but I don't think you should be thinking about business when you're the player. I think you should be able to focus on the game. So you do need somebody focusing on that for you. So I don't mind an agent. I don't think they're bigger than the game, though. They should be in the proper perspective. But guys did need Drew Rosenhaus. You definitely needed him. Willis McGahee, he needed an agent. He needed him. T.O., he needed an agent because he was doing too much. Ocho Cinco, he needed an agent. Those guys needed one. They're saying how Mulugheta clients do not play on franchise tags. HP was like, well, I am, and I'm staying here in Dallas. GP, you mean? GP might not play on it, though, Sadiqa. I think he signed it, but I don't know what he's going to do. These players could just use AI. I read that already. I appreciate you, Abel. Thank you. Making some good points, Okoye. I appreciate it. That's what I'm here for, man. Just giving you food for thought. Y'all could do the dishes. Rowdy. What's up, Rowdy Henderson? I appreciate you, brother. In 1994, the NFL collective bargaining agreement introduced the first ever salary cap. Yep, 34.6 million per team. Now we in the 200s because it keeps going up every year. Free agency killed the Cowboys in the 90s. It definitely did. All right. Let me see what else we got. All right. I've read those. Let me see. Mulugheta said what you know about NFL players, huh? Because they're gonna pay me. Does Mulugheta have to choke a play? Oh, it's like Wayne Brady. Is Wayne Brady gonna have to choke a bitch? Yeah. He said, "What you know about it? He gonna come choke me." You know what I mean? It'll be whatever. Holding out isn't good for the player either. The player needs to be with the team, etc. Yeah, and then also they usually get injured after a holdout because your body's not preparing for the sport. So never good. It doesn't help the player, and if an agent says it does, most players that hold out get soft tissue injuries afterward, whether it be ACL tears, hamstrings, so on, because they're not preparing properly. You have to put your body through certain things in order to be a rigorous regimen in order to be prepared to play football. Yes, I would say 4 in a row, first by, but Jimmy left. Yeah, we would have been 4 in a row if Jimmy didn't leave. Sandro over there cheeked up. You don't hear me? You don't hear me? I said you over there cheeked up. Uh, yeah, because gambling aspect legalized for the NFL. I believe the CBA in 10 years will top 1 billion. Oh, it will go up. Dak, I'm sure, has pulled GP code about all the advantages he can acquire staying here in Dallas pertaining to his contract. I hope he has. We won't even know how much the NFL makes per year when including gambling aspect, huh? We won't. We don't. He was in on it. Bird got it modified in Dallas' favor for a few. Let's see. It's going to be nuts to see the first player get $100 million per year contract. That's going to be the end of the NFL. That's going to be the end of the NFL. See, the Browns went through 21 QBs in 7 years. Last one was Johnny Football. Think about how many they went through since, how many they drafted since, how many they've gone through since 2022. Since you paid that money for a quarterback, you're still going through them. It's crazy. Might have been Jerry who used Mulugheta to drive up the trade for Micah. That's smart ball. I don't think Jerry was initially trying to trade Micah though. I think it really did come from the idea that Micah tried to play with Jerry. Like again, business is business. If you don't understand business and you don't understand the feelings that go along with business, I do respect Des from this aspect. He said, "Hey man, can you play with me out in this field?" Jerry's like, "No." He said, "What I look like negotiating with you then?" I did get that part. He's like, "I don't know what to say to you, Jerry. You might kill me with this contract." Get it. I think Dez will still be here though. Maybe not now, but he would have been here longer had he done it a different way. I do think that. And I think Dez loved football. He wanted to keep playing. I don't think he'd have got hurt if he didn't leave because number one, he'd have been in a different place. Time and place is everything. You know what I mean? Energy is a real thing. So who knows how it would have ended, but they was playing with the money. Dez wanted his money, right? And rightfully so, he wanted money. But at the end of the day, they were looking at it like, they want to be able to pay him what he's worth, but long term, keep him and keep everybody else around here happy. That did not happen due to a lot of things. But, Dez, that's 10 years old now, that conversation. Okoye, to be real in dude's name, Mulugheta, and makes sure he's getting his. Yeah, Mulugheta. Parsons is still a child. He actually that kid in your neighborhood who couldn't get his way, so he takes his football and goes in the house. I mean, I'm not gonna argue whether he is or isn't that, but I do know he don't know what to say. He doesn't know what to say out of his mouth, and he says crazy shit, whether it's Dak don't love us or Dak ain't in my top 10. He ain't put Dak, his own quarterback, as top 10. Even in the Pro Bowl, he's telling GP he needs to come and be the number one because the Packers need a number one. Well, how you think Romeo Dowds? How you think he felt about that? How you think he felt about that? You know what I'm saying? Dubs, whatever, fuck, Romeo, whatever the hell his name is. But Romeo ain't like it. Romeo gone now. Dobbs, that's what it is. That is so much money. It's like how much you need. I mean, it is what it is. Okoye, I think the Cowboys will leverage Pickens and get the pick after this year. They probably will. I think that makes more business sense. Most players don't check for the long-term implications. The pies method is a real thing. Yeah. Give me a blue dot if we can make a playoff run. Yeah, I will. We'll make it up. I heard Barham might be the mic. Barham is the mic. I think he's the mic, but starting, I don't know, because you got D Winters and you got Overshawn here. They're gonna fight for it. Barham was gonna have to be so much better than a contract year Overshawn. Overshawn is in a contract year. They're gonna give him his opportunity to earn a contract. Now, if they don't like Mulugheta for real, excuse me, if they don't like Mulugheta for real though, they might bench his ass. He might not get no opportunity, as many opportunities as you would like. So that could be something crazy. All right, let's see. Robert, 2 playoff shows and showings in 1 round. In the first round out. 2 payoff showings, first round out. That's why people get so upset with Dak. What are you truly paying for? That's, to me, that's a disingenuous conversation. I'm not trying to come at you when I say this, Lewis, but when you think about it this way, man, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, there's a lot of quarterbacks who were losing in the beginning of their career that, like Drew Brees losing, he lost so bad, they benched him for Doug Flutie. And then they got the number 1 draft pick after he got benched. And when he got benched, they had Eli Manning, what they were supposed to get. Eli Manning didn't even want to play there. They were so bad. So they ended up getting Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning's careers are directly driven by Drew Brees. Drew Brees' first year. And Drew Brees, how did his career end? How did Peyton Manning's career end? He went his first 9 seasons, first 9 or 10 seasons. He was out the playoffs quick too. No Super Bowls, right? So how is it Dak's first 9 seasons? We got this standard that you got to win a Super Bowl in your first 9 years. Like, nah. That's craziness to me. Because when you say, what are you paying for? You're paying for a guy that you know you can win with. Dak is not the only guy out there. And I don't think that the teams that got driven out of the playoffs, they weren't driven out because Dak was throwing 5 interceptions a game and just couldn't win. They were losing because the defenses were ass. And now we've addressed that. Just my thought. Okoye, who has the most pressure this year, the head coach or CP? It got to be. I almost said it got to be the head coach, but CP he's under a lot of pressure too. He's new, but I think he has the excuse of being new. I don't think that I think Schottenheimer's already shown us who he is. I don't see him having the same amount of pressure right now. I think they know they can win with him. Obviously, the head coach has more pressure, in my opinion, because he's the head coach. He falls on the sword. CP is CP. CP can have a bad year or average year, you say it's his first year, and then if Schottenheimer does not make the playoffs, CP can still get a promotion. All right, he has an average year where they play okay defensively. Schottenheimer loses. He can lose his job. CP can have the job. So CP can fail forward. So I think the most pressure has to be on Shotty. I love everyone they drafted and the ungrateful guy. They're all on the same page. I think the plan is to tag Pickens to buy time, have the young rookies play behind some vets, and then next year you can pop off some veteran contracts. Yeah, hop off of some contracts and have enough money for them. That's a good idea. And which was probably happening. Like you got Hooker here, you got a couple guys who are not going to be here, and those rookies will now be up to speed. Overshawn probably won't be here either. You know what I mean? So you got a lot of guys. You're right. That's a good point. True, and I get it. But was it the play of Dak in those playoff years? or was it that the reason we lost? Yeah, I just said that to him too, Robert. Okay. Okoye touching on stuff now. Look how radically Dak improved his fundamentals. I love Dak. He works so hard. Facts. Not giving the green light to my QB unless it's a playoff game or the Super Bowl. Fuck that. What you mean green light? You not saying he's good unless he gets to the Super Bowl? Yeah, I think it's also wait and see. Not talent wise, GP is a beast. Everyone knows that, but some questions on maturity are still there, in my opinion. I say leave him alone on the maturity because he hasn't done most of that stuff here. He did miss curfew once here, but he hasn't done a lot of. I think they said he's a great teammate here, so I'm judging you based off of that. His name is Ashanti Worthy. If they took a flyer in Switzer, I wonder if you could get the right person to listen. Go check him out and go see even if he would like to play in the NFL. Who's Ashanti Worthy? I'll get to that. I'll look him up later, maybe. I don't know who he is. I will look him up though. Ashanti Worthy. What did Reezy say? I don't see Miami wanting Overshawn. Anyone really, because he hasn't played a full season. Yeah, he got to play before anybody going to invest in him. Even after he played, it's still like he's still going to be devalued because of the type of injuries you have. Jerry definitely won the deal. This is Alex Mata. You're right. He said Jerry definitely won the deal. They thought that they had Jerry by the nuts, but old man showed he still had a spine. Maybe that was what this organization needed to wake up and do things that we have to do. Listen, or have done, I guess. That was a great deal. Think about this. You got Micah Parsons gone off that contract, which he was a cancer too, and Diggs gone because of that too. So Diggs and Micah gone, right? Because of that. Diggs was a cancer too. I like Diggs, but he was a cancer. Micah too, cancer. All right. Then you got both those guys gone. You got Kenny Clark, who Quentin Williams said is his mentor. He likes to learn from. He watches his film. You got Quentin Williams. You got two first round. You got the two first round draft picks, and then you traded back two more picks from the Eagles, right? So you got Malachi Lawrence, and you got you got Quentin Williams for those first round draft picks, right? Because Quentin Williams, I think we traded one for him, right? So you got Malachi Lawrence and Quentin Williams for those two first round draft picks. Then you got two fourth round draft picks, the boy Shelton and Devin Moore for Micah Parsons. So you got Kenny Clark, Quentin Williams, Malachi Lawrence, Shelton, Devin Moore for Micah Parsons. Got 5 players for Micah Parsons. Come on, man. And then we got Caleb Downs because of that too. You know what I'm saying? So come on, man. Nah. Very easy. All right. Okay, let me see. Let me go down. Some of y'all asking actual questions. What up, Okoye fam? Appreciate the content you give us. I appreciate you, man. What's up, Mac? Make sure you guys who haven't done so already, take some time. It's 186 of y'all in here. Make sure you hit the like button, the share button, subscribe button, all that good stuff. Hit the notification button so you can catch me because I don't have a set schedule. So you can catch me when I'm on. Hit it now. If you have it on already, turn it off, turn it back on for me. If you haven't become a member, definitely take the time to do so because those memberships definitely push this movement forward. Plus, I actually do content based off of the membership. So based off of what you guys ask, this is what you get. You guys ask for content about GP, you're getting it. I'm not talking about what everybody else is talking about, like the draft picks right now. Everybody's talking about that. I don't have a problem talking about it, but y'all didn't ask for that. You asked for this. So you're getting it. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to direct the channel and kind of lead me to where you want me to be in regards to conversations, definitely make sure you're a member if you haven't done so. It's only $4 a month to be a member. It's not, I'm not beating nobody upside the head. Some teams pay Okoye 100 to 150K just to scout tape. Money well spent. Definitely pay me. Yeah, get that. Go ahead, get me 6 figures for that. I'll do it. That's it, man. He does it dirty, like you don't want to do business again with him. Yep. As an agent, that to me sounds like a short career. Yeah, once it's time, that's when the players will start to see who he is. Once it's time for them to all get their second contracts, if it doesn't happen, like tell me Deshaun Watson's getting another contract. No, he's not. Um, Micah Parsons, will he? I don't think he so. I don't know. Wilkins, he not getting one. Not no big one. Get what I'm saying? None of these guys have done anything to warrant no extra money. It's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a problem. All right, I'm getting to the bottom of these questions. Let me see. Okoye, what's your thoughts on having our young pick ups and or some veterans playing full preseason games to get them acclimated to a real game? I guess you meant pups, filled with the new defensive install. Are you saying have some veterans play full games? Maybe. It depends. If they need it, yeah, pay them. I mean, make them play. If they need it, play them. You know what I'm saying? If they need it. Depending on if you need the reps, I say play them. Teams don't have to pay it, but if they don't, someone else will. Yeah, well, leave. If all you playing the game for is to get the most money you can get and roll, it ain't about legacy to you, and you don't even understand the business. Like the reason we do good business is not for good business sakes only. It's because you get future business for doing good business. Let me give you an example, like an SEO, right? SEO is like search engine optimization. Search engine optimization, then an online reputation management is like I'm a consultant in that space, like for real. I was doing that for years, right? Now, SEO is like having the ability to get people to show up someplace. That's like getting a bunch of people to come to a party, right? Or to show up to your water ice stand for the first day of summer. You got 1 million people there, but you got shitty water ice. Well, long term wise, yeah, you did good marketing to get them there. But ORM is online reputation management. Your reputation just took a dip. Ain't nobody coming back. You ain't getting nobody on the comeback, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing. Like, you can do as good as you can do. Somebody else might pay you the first time around because they don't know no better. But once your reputation is trash because of the way none of those players are playing. None of them are playing. None of his clients, other than the one who left him, which is Tee Higgins, are playing anywhere. I think the TV networks see how entertaining the contract talks are, and they push the issue on them to get bloated. They're doing it with GP now, trying to cause drama because we tune in for it. There's something to that, Alex. You actually are a free thinker, Alex. I like how you think, man. You think. Actually, most people don't think. Thinking is a process. People don't do it. Uh, yeah, I got you there, Richard. You're talking to Corey, not me. Fans saying it's not players or agents' job to manage the cap. That's like saying it's not Walmart's job to manage your budget. I know, dog. That's why I don't pay too much for the best steak. Yeah, you better go to Walmart. Go to Walmart and get that meat glue steak. You know what I mean? I don't want none of that though. I follow Mulugheta for years. I'm so happy for him and his players. He represents success. The players lay it all on the line every Sunday to earn that money. Bullshit. When has the Deshaun Watson laid on the line after he got the contract? He got injured every year, right? He hasn't done anything since he got the money. He hasn't earned the money before that. He didn't do anything before the 230 mil to earn 230 mil. The industry gave him 230 mil because the cap, but they were paying him off of his potential, and he hasn't lived up to it, has he? Christian Wilkins, has he lived up to his $100 million contract? No. Micah Parsons has yet to live up to his. So I'm talking about post contract. So I'm not hating on the fact that he's making his money, but let's not make it about, oh, they just making their money. Let's not. Yeah, it's not hate. It's real shit. Like, are you doing what's best for the players with those contracts? You're making money, but money can't be the only measurement of success. Your career and your legacy matters. And if you can't go back to any team, or you can't, nobody wants you after that first contract, then that's a problem. It's a problem. No hate to you, Jay Marley, though, but it is what it is. And I ain't telling you to change your opinion. Koya had to step out for a sec. Did you show the dogs yet while I was gone? Oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it real quick. My bad. Hold on. Show something. You're gonna be mad. Stay right there, Nyla. I'm right here. I'm not going nowhere. I'm not going nowhere with him. I got him. I got him. I got him. I got him. I ain't going nowhere. She looking at me like, you better bring my babies back. There's one. One white one. Let me see. Boom. Let me stand up because I don't want to drop nothing out. So it's 10 of them. Let me see. I'm trying to get them where the camera focus on them. Boom, boom. There's 10 of them. 6 of them white. And there's 4 of them that's black like this one. So I'm going to put them down right there. Stay right there. Don't jump off the table, though. Boom. They be moving, though. They only like a week and a half old. Then it's like 4 of them that's black like this one. And then there's 6 of them that's white. But they mean. They already be rumbling and all that. Look at them. What's up, man? What's up, man? What's up? What's up, money? All right, but yeah, she looking at me right now. She like, what you doing, my baby? I got him, Nyla. She don't like this. The Comcast boy that came in. I know. Tell him what's up. Tell him what's up. Tell him what's up. The Comcast boy that came in here though, she snapped on him. She was snapping the whole day. She was like, I'm about to fuck him up. She tried to get him out of here. So he had to come in and run the wiring down here. She tried to tear his ass up. Usually she chilling. So I don't really get to see that because I don't let her around a bunch of people. And so she always, cute, cuddly. The mom, anyway, she cute and cuddly and chill. I felt it. Like she was barking and going so hard. She was like vibrating the whole cage in the whole basement. Hold on, I'm gonna put them back over here because they kind of feisty. They moving. I don't want to drop one. All right. That's all right. There's another black one. So it's 4 of these. There's another black one. But they don't like being away from their mind right now because they so little. But yeah, I had to let you see them. I told you I would. So there you go. He said, "Damn." So you got to you go to the Browns to become a run through at the QB position. Yep, everybody at the QB position for the Browns got ran through. Players don't think about long-term ramifications of turning down a good deal in cities like Dallas. Winning Cowboy players are set for life. Yes, they are. Come on, buddy. You don't want to hear that shit? All right, buddy. I got you. Stop whining. All right, I'm taking you back to mommy. He mad as shit. He said, "Get off me, man. Get the fuck out of here. I want to get back to the teddy." All right, let it go. Boom. Yep, everybody rolling out. It's good. Okay, we're talking about context to 248 mil by the end of his contract. That's all. At Okoye. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. I understand what you're talking about. All right, boom. How would you like to see BT Jordan work with that? Is not an O lineman to improve his game? see Caleb Downs putting in work with BT already. How would you like to see BT Jordan work with? I guess you saying you want to see him work with an offensive lineman. I think he could. He can develop drills for almost anybody, I think. Dak is also the only QB in the game that's being blamed by the majority of the team's failure prior to his career. No other QB in the league is taking that heat. Nope. They were like, get him some help. We need him to get him an offensive line. When he loses, Dak's fault. Go ahead. What do you think about the Tulsa undrafted we signed at running back? I haven't taken a look at him at all. I haven't looked at most of the undrafted free agents and none of that. I got to go dive into the film this week. I need film before I can start talking about him. Micah career is incorrect. Dude did not actively try to hurt a team during his stay until Jerry got mad. Oh no, that's not true. That's not true. I don't think that the podcast helps, although I think the Downs has a podcast too. I don't like the podcast idea, especially if you're not doing your job to the utmost ability of your ability. But you got one, you got one. I can't stop you. I'm on a podcast technically, right? But at the same time, it's like I don't go slack off at work and then come do this. I make sure my business is right and I still come do it. You know what I'm saying? So if your business is right, your business is right. When you look at Micah Parsons, I looked at it like he wasn't a leader that would indicate that he was worth what he was asking for. He was a cancer. And think about this. You can tell me if I'm wrong. He's been a cancer on every team he's been on. When you say Micah's career, Micah a cancer is incorrect. Well, when he was in Penn State, did he get sued or did they get sued because of him fondling or diddling with another player? They did. When he came here, was he arguing with D-Law on the sideline during live games? Were we losing playoff games because he want to line up over Trent Williams and beat him? Or when we was playing the Eagles, he only wants to line up against Lane Johnson so he can get the glory of having beat Lane Johnson instead of becoming the mismatched chess piece. I just got to beat this guy, right? That's all ego playing, right? Did we win playoff game? Did he do anything in any playoff game? Anything? No. We all talk about Rashawn Gary. Look at their playoff performances versus stacked against each other. Rashawn Gary got better in the playoffs. Micah disappeared in the playoffs, right? So that's not popping, bro. You have him and Diggs both not practicing, playing, and I'm not talking about just what I know from the media. I'm talking about I'm listening to players and people around the players who talk to me. I just don't share sources because they tell you not to. But I know I'm not just making it up on him. Like he would be even with Zimmer. When Zimmer was here, Zimmer would try to get up on him, try to come after him or come at him for certain things, or try to get do what Zimmer does. And he would run and talk to McCarthy. McCarthy would take up for him. You know what I'm saying? So to me, he never really wanted to be everything that he could be while here. I don't think he bought in all the way. And even over at Green Bay, to me, he was kind of cancerous over there. I know firsthand, like watching what his brother and them were doing after Gary got here. You're talking about players and their contract and their ability live on Twitter to try to mess up their money in the future. Like that's cancerous behavior. And I know if it wasn't for the fact that you okayed that, your brother wouldn't be doing that. You know what I'm saying? So, and he came on the show for us to talk about it, right? So that's wild behavior. That's all cancerous behavior. When you're on the Green Bay Packers and now you're saying, Romeo Dobbs, hey, fuck you. We need you, GP. We need a true number one over here. You know what I'm saying? What you mean? Don't y'all got one? That's what Dobbs thought. That's what he thought. He gone now. Quay Walker, gone now. Kenny Clark, gone. Rashawn Gary, gone. And these guys, well, I'm not all of them, but some of those guys don't like you, brother. I don't see a lot of people. I don't see a lot of leadership. You know what I'm saying? All right. Let me see. This is probably my anxiety, but CP has made such a great impression, and I'm worried if he drastically changes our defense, what we could do to keep him. Might not keep him. Might not keep him. But that's the nature of the NFL today. That's why we got people behind him now that can keep the same scheme going. You think making 3 or 4 million less is really life altering? You people got to be realistic. It's not, especially when you got interest that you're making off your bread too. He ain't doing what's best for the players. He's getting his money. Micah is literally making about 1 million more due to the jock tax. You think he's better off? No, he's not. Ask Micah Knees. He said dogs handing out the business already, huh? Yeah, they feisty, man. They feisty. He said them dogs look like, man, if you don't put me down and stop showing me, they don't never leave their mom's side. Like she baby him. She don't leave their side at all. No time of day. So they don't play. Collier, is there any talk of Duke Merriweather working with Guyton? I don't know. He probably has this off season, but I think Guyton was working last. His footwork has improved, but I don't know. I gotta look into it. Cowboy Nation, our defense bad last year. To me, we want to be top 10 with our draft picks and full training camp and better defensive coach. We're gonna be, yeah, we are gonna be top 10. Yes, I believe Micah's still a man child. I called him man boy. I was right. That X dressing video of him in Penn State was wild. Yeah, that's crazy work, man. I would never do it, but hey, even have Barry Swisher's grandson Zach Swisher trying out as running back. Oh, for real? I didn't know that. I said I wanted to trade Micah before they did. I know he didn't buy in. He should be a Fred Warner like linebacker. He shouldn't even be like. Listen, he should be a Barham like linebacker. Fred Warner is a guy that has a cover. He's more of a cover 2, cover 3 linebacker. He's a coverage guy, smooth. Micah was a missile who can do the stuff that Fred Warner can do, yes, but he also can play in the backfield and get you tackles for loss and shoot gaps and take on double teams and blocks in space. You can't reach block. Micah Parsons was a different kind of animal altogether. With the NIL money and players coming out older, the league is definitely a different game now. It's going to be. What's up, Okoye? Love your shows and breakdowns and analysis. Devin Moore going to be a difference maker in secondary along with Caleb Downs in the years to come for sure. I think Caleb Downs is going to do his thing this year, but he's not going to own the secondary. He's going to be kind of ushered into it and then, let him get his feet wet. And then by mid-season, depending on how the rest of those guys are playing, he might take on all of the responsibilities that you're asking. But then again, the way he's entered into Alabama he might come into the door swinging and do his thing. You never know. Let me see. Okoye, who do you believe our starting inside linebacker is? I think because of what you went to go get in D Winters, and he's a veteran, he's going to start. And then because it's a contract year for Demarion Overshawn, those are likely your 2 starting linebackers. That doesn't mean they're not going to rotate Barham in, but those are likely your starters. If any of them get injured, Barham's going to be your guy, and he probably don't give the job back up, personally. But training camp is going to tell the difference as well. Okay, for sure. So you got a point, Nipsey, but we're going to tell after training camp. Now, let me ask y'all again. Y'all didn't say anything, but was I jumpy or no? Was this stream good or not? I don't know. Tell me. And then I'm getting up out of here. I got to the bottom of the chat. That's what I'm talking about. Nip, Reezy, was it jumping at all? Every 5 minutes like it was before? And that mosquito's still going. It's night and you still going, buddy. I'm going to kill you. It jumped some. Problems. So other people saying stream was good. Huh. I'm going to rewatch it myself and see what's good. But listen, shout out to everybody in the chat, including the AKs that support the channel. I appreciate everything, and I have fun. Tonight I had a few pauses, but not as bad as it was. They said fine over here. It's different for everybody, but I will see when I rewatch it, because if it's pausing for me, that means it's pausing. If it's pausing for just you guys, it might be you guys. But if it's pausing for me, then it's bad for me. I'm getting mixed reviews, but we'll see. But either way, let's see. Your screen froze right around the same time you were saying it was good. I only saw it once. Okay, that sounds good. All right, well, bet. Like I said, I'm out of here. Make sure you guys hit the like, subscribe button. Make sure you do your thing. Shout out to the new members, Toxic, Splendor, like your name. Thank you for the super chats as well. And we out of here, man. Talk to y'all Tuesday. Peace.